Discussing power system matrices, and in the last lecture we have discussed Bose incidence matrix. Okay, so we have solved a few examples. Let's solve a few more examples. So here very simple system is given. I hope you have tried to form Bose incidence matrix of a system given in the last lecture. So for this system, there are 4 buses, and 2 buses consist of generators G1 and G2. Each line is represented by a series component, and both the shunt connections are given J 0.2 ohm reactance. So this J 0.2 ohm reactance exists between a particular bus and ground. Okay. Uh, we need to form bus incidence matrix A. So the simple and same method. First draw the graph. So this is the graph, and it is oriented graph. From the oriented graph, again both the ground nodes are connected here at a common, and this is the bus incidence matrix for a given system. See, all the elements are denoted by A, B, C, D, E, F, and all the buses are denoted by 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is A bar or A hat. You can write A bar or A hat. So whenever we consider the ground node and its corresponding column appears into the matrix, the matrix is known as element node incidence matrix. And if we remove the first column, this one, then it becomes bus incidence matrix. So this is second example. Here also total 4 buses are given. All the 4 uh, buses consist of generators. So this is the oriented graph. You can see bus number 1, 2, 3 and 4. They are connected to 0, that is ground node. And 1, 2, 3, 4, they are elements or branches from node to ground. Then these 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. These are the branches indicating transmission lines between the buses. So for this oriented graph, we will get 9 cross 4 bus incidence matrix and 9 cross 5 element node incidence matrix. So this is again A hat, or you can also write A bar. So these are the elements and these are the nodes. This is E cross N. And similar as last example, if you remove the first column from the matrix, you will get bus incidence matrix A. So to get A from A bar, just remove the first column, which corresponds to ground node. So again, this is very simple and easy example. Let's see one more example. This is also 4 bus system where bus number 1 and bus number 3, 4, they consist of generators, and there are various inter-bus connections. So this is the graph of the network where buses are connected. Bus number 1 is connected to ground, bus number 4 is connected to ground, and bus number 3 is also connected to ground. They are having generators. So these thick lines indicate branches and the dotted lines indicate links. So you can separate out bus incidence matrix into AB and AL. So again, this is A bar, element node incidence matrix, and you can see the number of buses are 5, including ground node. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the nodes, and these are the elements. So initially, one number is the branch. So this is the branch, 1 and -1. The second is also branch, this one. Then third one is branch, and 7 number is branch. So out of total 7 branches, total 7 elements, 4 are the branches, 1, 2, 3 and 7, and remaining 3 are 4, 5, 6. They are the links. So later you can separate out this matrix into branch and links. Okay. So I hope you understand the concept of element node incidence matrix and bus incidence matrix. If you have any query or any question or any confusion, you may ask. Otherwise, we will proceed further. Vibus formation. Okay, any query? Okay, so let's move further. Vibus formation. Now, Vibus is nothing but it is also known as the bus admittance matrix. So this is known as bus admittance matrix. In short, it is either represented as Vibus or simply YB. There are two methods to formulate Vibus. The first method is called direct method, and the second method is known as singular transformation method. So we will discuss both the methods one by one. Let's first see how can we formulate Vibus using direct inspection method or simply direct method. So we know that the power system consists of so many buses which are interconnected with each other with the help of transmission lines. So as our system is highly interconnected, there exist several transmission lines between pair of the buses. So in this highly interconnected network, there are so many power plants connected at particular buses, and there are loads which are connected at another buses. So in this network, at few buses where generators are connected, power is injected, and at the same time, at the buses where loads are connected, power is absorbed. So there is a combination of power injection and power absorption. So in transmission line, the power is flowing from the node where generator is connected to the node where load is connected. And it is essential to understand in which manner all these things are connected, that is generator with bus and load with bus, various buses with each other, in which manner entire power system is connected. So to know this, Vibus can be used. We can use the Vibus. So in entire power system, as I said earlier, there may be a few buses with only generators and no loads, and there may be other buses with only loads and no generators. So let's try to understand with simple example. In this 3 bus system, bus number 1, 2 and 3, here Generator is connected. Here also there is generator. And at bus number 3, various loads are connected. So bus number 1 and 2 are, they are known as the generator bus, because on bus number 1 and 2 only generating stations are connected. There is no load. Whereas at bus number 3 only loads are connected. So bus number 3 is known as the load bus. Now let's assume there exists a bus number 4 where this is the connection. At bus number 4, a generator as well as load is connected. So let's assume PG is the active power generation at bus number 4, whereas PD is the power demand at the same bus. So you can see here there is a connection between bus number 4 to 2 and 4 to 3, right? So let's assume the connection between bus number 4 to 3. So can anyone tell what is the amount of active power flowing from bus number 4 to bus number 3? Let's assume this connection is not available for simplicity. Neglect the connection between 2 and 4 at present. There is a connection between 4 and 3 only. PG is the generation at bus 4. PD is the demand at bus 4. So what amount of power is flowing from 4 to 3?
PG minus PD.
Yes, it is the
PG
difference.
minus G.
PG minus PD. So this PG minus PD is called the net power injected at bus number 4. So at bus number 4, net power is difference of these two, generation minus demand. And if PG is greater than PD, then the power will flow from 4 to 3. But if PG is less than PD, then power will flow from 3 to 4. So this balance is very important. PG minus PD is very important. So in entire power system, this is very small network where only 4 buses are there. But if we talk about our Gujarat power system, then there could be hundreds of buses and hundreds of transmission lines, and each are connected with each other. Now each transmission line has its own series and shunt parameters. Each transmission line has different types of conductors connected. You will study in the next semester probably power system practice, planning and design, in which you will study that there are different types of conductors used in power transmission network and power distribution network. And all these conductors are given the name of various birds and animals like dog, raccoon, then goose, crow, etc. So when we say there is a conductor crow and there is one conductor dog or python, all these conductors are different. Their material may be same. They are ACSR conductor. ACSR, you have studied what is ACSR, right? Aluminum conductor steel reinforced in PS1. So crow and dog both are ACSR conductor, but the number of strands will be different. This may be 7 strand conductor and this may be 21 strand conductor. So depending upon their area, the resistance, inductance, which is a series parameter, is different. So as the impedance of both the conductors are different between two buses, the total impedance of the line will be different. So depending upon each transmission line, depending upon which conductor is used, based on the length of the transmission line, their entire impedance will be different. As the impedance is different, the admittance of the transmission line will be different, right? So to represent the power system with the help of mathematical model, which is known as the network model, it is sufficiently accurate to represent a short line by a series impedance. You have studied short line representation, medium and long. Whereas the long line is represented by nominal pi method. Now, for any transmission line, the line resistance may be neglected. We can neglect the line resistance for mathematical analysis. But when we neglect the line resistance, the accuracy of the answer available will also be neglected, or it will be decreased. So when we neglect the resistance, whatever answer we receive, it is not so much accurate. But there are some advantages of neglecting the resistance. And the advantages, one of the advantages is equations will be simpler. As the equations are simpler, their computation time required is also less. Also, they will occupy, or this network model neglecting resistance will occupy less memory in computer. So these three are advantages, that equations will be simpler, they will need less time in computation. At the same time, computer memory required is also less. There is only one disadvantage, that with this assumption that we neglect the resistance, whatever answer is available will not be 100% accurate, because we are neglecting very important component. So let's assume there is one system, 4-bus network having a few transmission lines and generators, also loads are connected at each bus. So SD1 is the complex power demand at bus number 1, and SG1 is the complex power generated at bus number 1. Similarly, at 2, 3 and 4, their respective power demands and power generations are shown. Now, as we discussed in the last slide, that the net injection at bus number 1 is nothing but it is the difference of SG1 minus SD1. So if SG1 is greater than SD1 at bus number 1, then the power will be flowing like this. So power will flow away from the bus in the transmission lines. So at bus number, from bus number 1 to 2, power is flowing in this manner. And between bus number 1 to 3, again power is flowing in this manner. So this is called net injection of the power. Similarly, at each bus, we can set the net power. Now, there are only two possibilities at any bus. Either the net injection is positive or net injection is negative. So if at bus number 2, the net injection is positive, that means at bus number 2, generation is more than demand. So bus number 2 will inject the power into the network. So again, power will flow in this manner. Now, if this is the scenario in these 4 transmission lines, power flows in this manner. The meaning is, or the conclusion is, at bus number 3 and bus number 4, what is the relation between generation and demand? At bus number 3, what is the relation? Let's say SG3 and SD3. Which sign we should put here? Equal to, greater than, or less than? Can you understand the question?
Less than.
Less
Less
than.
than.
Yes, it is the less than. Because bus number 3 is receiving the power from bus number 1 and bus number 2. આવું ક્યારે થશે કે જ્યારે બસ નંબર 3 ઉપર there is a deficiency of the generation and excess of demand. Demand વધારે હશે અને generation ઓછું હશે. In those condition only bus number 3 will receive the power from remote buses. So at bus number 4 also same thing is true, that generation is less than demand or demand is greater than generation. Remembering this, for the analysis purpose, let's assume that loads as negative generators. That means loads receive the power, load absorb the power. So that is considered as minus or negative of the generation. And at ith bus, at any bus number I could be 1, 2, 3 or 4. If it is n bus system, then I may be the any value from that n buses. The net complex power injected into the bus is given by this, that SI is equal to PI plus JQI, where PI is PGI minus PDI. Already we have discussed this. And QI is QGI minus QDI. That means at any bus, if generation and load, generator and load both are present, then depending upon their value, whether generation is more than demand or demand is more than generation, the net power injection will be decided. Okay, we will solve the example to understand this very soon. Here, the complex power supplied by the generators is SGI, PGI plus J QGI, and the complex power drawn by the loads is SDI, that is PDI plus J QDI. Okay, so the real and reactive powers injected into the ith bus. Now we can separate out active and reactive power or real and reactive power. That PI is PGI minus PDI and QI is QGI minus QDI. Okay, so this is how between two buses, if there is one transmission line, this is how the power flow will be decided. So between two buses, the power will flow from excess power node to power deficient node. જે બસ ઉપર પાવર એક્સેસ હશે ત્યાંથી જે બસ ઉપર પાવર ઓછો હશે ડેફિશિયન્સી, ત્યાં પાવર ફ્લો થશે. And remember one thing, this condition is not fixed. એવું નથી કે 24 કલાક સેમ ડાયરેક્શનમાં પાવર ફ્લો થતો રહે, because our power system is highly dynamic in nature. So it may possible that for a particular duration, like let's say from morning 6 to 11, bus number 1 ઉપર power excess છે અને bus number 2 ઉપર power deficiency છે. So during that period power will flow from 1 to 2. પછી બપોરના 12 થી 4 વાગ્યા સુધી કદાચ રિવર્સ થઈ જાય કે બસ નંબર 1 ઉપર જનરેશન ઓછું, ડિમાન્ડ વધારે, and at bus number 2 generation is more and demand is less. So now power will be reversed. એટલે બપોરના 12 થી 4 સુધી power reverse માં flow થશે. Then from 4 to 7, again at bus number 1 generation is more than demand, and bus number 2 demand is more than generation. So again power direction is reversed. So if there are n number of buses in the system, there are n number of buses, and let's assume bus number 1 is connected with 4 other buses, then the situation is very much complex. We can understand કે કેટલું બધું આપણે ઓબ્ઝર્વ કરવું પડે to identify the power flow in transmission lines between the pair of the buses. And just because of this reason, the AC power system is very much complex as compared with DC, because there are two powers, P and Q. Okay, so we will see later on. Now, observe the figure. It shows the power system modeling. Okay, which model we have adopted here? Which model?
Pi model.
Yes, this is equivalent pi model. You can see the pi. Line 2, 3. Bus number 2 and 3 વચ્ચેની line જુઓ. એમાં we have considered pi model. Each line is represented by pi model. Okay. So the advantage of using pi model is, let's assume this shunt connection, XC by 2, this XC by 2. So this XC by 2 we can merge with the shunt parameter of this bus. So this will be merged with bus 1 and this will be merged with bus 2. This is true for each transmission line, that their shunt parameter we can merge with the nearby bus. Okay, so the equivalent power source at ith bus injects current J. Now let's assume that at any ith bus the power source is injecting current Ji. For example, let's take I is equal to 1. So at bus 1 there is a source and this source is injecting current J1. You can see here in the round. If we take I is equal to 2, then at bus number 2 its source is injecting current J2. Now in this diagram, for simplicity, we have shown the direction of the current which is positive. That means we have shown all the currents entering the junction for simplicity. Okay, it may possible that this J4 current is negative. That means J4 current is flowing in this direction. But for simplicity, we have shown the same direction. Later we will consider the practical direction. So it may be observed that the structure of a system is such that all the sources are always connected to a common ground node. In this network, as all the 4 buses consist of generating units, all these 4 buses are connected with a common ground node, which is shown as the 0. If we see this diagram, then the same thing is shown. What we discuss here, that all the 4 buses are having generators, so they are connected with the ground along with inter-bus connection, like bus number 1 and bus number 2. They are having one common transmission line. Let's say this is line 1, 2. So along with this connection 1, 2, bus number 1 and 2 are connected with ground node. Using this method, we can redraw this network by showing a common ground node. So in this network, you can see a common ground node is shown here. This is the common ground node. And all the 4 buses, now they are shown with the dot, and all the line impedances, now they are represented with their respective admittances. So bus number 1 is connected with the ground, and between ground and bus number 1 there exists generator. So this represents generator. Similarly, bus number 2 is connected with ground, and between ground and bus number 2 there exists source 2, like bus number 3, source 3 and source 4. So these 4 are the connections between bus number 1 and ground, 2 and ground, 3 ground, 4 and ground, and so on. Now let's consider the interbus connections. So between bus number 1 and 2, there is an impedance Z12, but we have shown Y12 between 1 and 2. So in earlier diagram, this component, shaded part, this shaded part is the series parameter. So it is Z12. You know very well that in pi network, let's say pi network, this is the pi network. This is series impedance, so it is Z, and this is shunt, right? So this series impedance is shown by its reciprocal. So when we take the reciprocal of Z, 1 upon Z, we will get Y. And as this Y is connected between, here there is bus number 1 and here there is bus number 2. So it is labeled as 1, 2, 1, 2. This impedance is 1, 2. Okay. So the same thing is shown here, that between bus number 1 and 2, impedance is converted into admittance. Similarly, between 1 and 3, this impedance is converted into admittance. And in all transmission lines between the buses, impedances are connected in admittances. Now, what about this connection? What about the connection between, let me show you in the original diagram. Okay. So see here, between generator and bus, there is a connection. That means this G1 is connected with bus with the help of some kind of reactance or some kind of small transmission network. It is not transmission network, but connectors, conductors. Okay. So here there are some parameters, series parameter R and X. As the length is very much less, we can neglect the resistance. It can be represented by only reactance. So we can convert this reactance into admittance, and it is shown by Y10. So what is Y10? Y10 is the admittance between bus number 1 and bus number 0. And in parallel with admittance, a current source is placed. So earlier, when this was the connection, this generator was modeled as voltage source. But in this network, this generator is converted into current source. Now recall source conversion. We have discussed in BEE that if we transform from voltage source to current source, let's assume there is a voltage source in series with resistance, voltage, and this is resistance. If we transform this voltage source into current source, how can we do that? We have to put the current source and let's say terminal 1 and 2. This is terminal 1 and 2. Then here we have to put the impedance or resistance in shunt. Okay, so this is converted from voltage source to current source. ખબર પડે છે તમને આમાં?
Yes, sir.
We have solved the example in BEE. So exactly same thing. But what is the difference between these two? This is AC generator. Only that much difference. અહીંયા આપણે DC voltage source લીધો છે એટલે DC current આપશે. but in our case it is AC generator because this is AC power network. So this is AC current source in parallel with shunt admittance or in parallel with the admittance 1 0. Similarly, between 2 and 0 it is Y20, Y30 and Y40. So let me remove whatever written on the slide and again closely observe the network. Try to observe the network. So here there are two types of admittances connected. The first type of admittance is the admittance of transmission line between two buses. Okay, which are the admittances between two buses? First is Y12, another is Y13, then Y23, Y24 and Y34. These five are the admittances of transmission lines between actual buses. Which are the another type of admittances? In this network, which are the another type of admittances?
Connected in shunt.
Connected in shunt means between bus number, between any actual bus and ground node. So they are Y10, Y20, Y30 and Y40. Two types of admittances are connected. Also observed, if we are standing at bus 1, somebody is standing at bus 1 and he or she is looking towards bus 2. So he can see Y12. आपने Y12 देखा से. Now, if somebody is standing on bus 2 and looking towards bus 1, तो એને શું देखा से?
Y21.
Yes, it is Y21. But whether we are standing on bus 1 or bus 2 and looking to opposite end, whatever we can see, it may be Y12 or Y21. Both are same because we are not going to change the transmission line. આપણે transmission line change નથી કરતા. એટલે તમે Y12 કહો અથવા Y21 કહો. It is same. In short, Y of IK is same as Y of KI. Similarly, Y10 or Y01, both are same. So remember these three important points, that there are two types of admittances. First is connected between two actual buses and another is connected between one bus and ground. Second, whether we see from 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, the admittance remains same. Okay, now remembering this, if we apply the Kirchhoff's current law, let me remove this because we need to monitor we have to observe the diagram again. If we apply the KCL at bus 1, apply KCL at bus 1. So what is the possibility? The first possibility is bus 1 is receiving the current J1 and there may be 3 outgoing paths. એટલે J1 current enter થાય છે, whereas 3 currents are leaving the bus 1. Sorry, not this. Yes, we can remove this. This is J1. So if we apply the KCL at bus 1, the first current is V1 into Y10. Right? This is also possible path. So what is the current in this branch 120 જે છે node Y10 વાળો, એનો current કેટલો છે? So we know the current in the form of admittance. Okay, let me write down I is equal to V divided by Z, Ohm's law, or we can also write this as 1 upon Z into V. What is 1 upon Z? It is Y.
Y.
So the current can be given as Y into V. So the current in this branch between 1 to 0, this current is voltage between bus number 1 and 0. It is V1 minus V0 into Y10. खबर पड़े चाहिए तुमने? What is the current flowing from 1 to 0? It is potential difference between two nodes, node number 1 and node number 0, multiplied by its admittance. So potential difference is V1 minus V0 into Y10. Now let's consider 1-2 connection, this connection. So what is the potential difference between 1 and 2? It is V1 minus V2. And what is the admittance? Y12. What is the current flowing from 1 to 3? Bus number 1 to bus number 3? Yes, anyone?
V1 minus V3 into Y13.
Yes, V1 minus V3 into Y13. So if we add all these three currents, the total current or net current will be equal to J1. So if we apply KCL here, then J1 is equal to V1 into Y10 plus V1 minus V2 into Y12 plus V1 minus V3 into Y13. Is it clear, everyone? બધાને ખબર પડી આમાં? Or
Yes,
any
sir.
doubt? કોઈને doubt છે? I think there are 24 students. Out of 24, કોઈ પણ સ્ટુડન્ટને ડાઉટ હોય તો પૂછો, because this is very important to understand. This is the first step to form the Y bus. Okay, so let's go ahead. We can apply the KCL at bus number 2 also in the similar manner. So let's apply the KCL at bus number 2. Okay, let me remove this. Now let's apply KCL at bus number 2. So what is the current flowing in this branch? Here in this branch.
V2 into Y20.
Yes, V2 into Y20. Actually, it is V2 minus V0. But as ground node is always at ground potential, zero potential. So this current is V2 minus V20. What about current flowing between bus number 2 and 3? It is V2 minus
V3 into Y2.
V3. Potential difference into Y23. And similarly between Y24, bus 2 and 4, it is V2 minus V4 into Y24. Okay. Likewise, for all the 4 buses, we can write down the KCL. So J1 is this. V1 Y10 plus V1 minus V2 Y12 plus V1 minus V3 Y13. J2 is V2 Y20 and so on. And J3 and J4. So for all the 4 buses, we have applied KCL. Now, we can rearrange this and represent all these 4 equations in matrix form. So on left hand side, it is the current matrix J1, J2, J3, J4. This matrix on the very much right hand side is voltage matrix. So V1, V2, V3, V4. And in between, whatever matrix is there is known as admittance matrix Y bus. So if you open these equations, that V1 Y10 plus V1 Y12 minus V2 Y12 plus V1 Y13 minus V3 Y13 અને પછી V1 V1 વાળા ટર્મ એક સાથે મૂકી દેવાના. There are 3 terms. So you will get Y10 plus Y12 plus Y13 into V1. ખબર પડે છે અહીંયા કે આખું સોલ્વ કરું હું? હા, પ્લીઝ રિપ્લાય. Should I write down?
No, sir.
Okay. So you do yourself. At least you expand these 4 equations. Combine all the same voltage equations. એટલે V1 V1 વાળા એક બાજુ કરવાના, V2 V2 વાળા અહીંયા સેકન્ડ માં, થર્ડ માં V3 વાળા એક સાથે આવશે અને ફોર્થ માં V4 વાળા એક સાથે આવશે. If you write down this manner and separate the equation, rewrite the equation in the form of matrix, we will get this large equations. તો આમાં આ કરંટ વેક્ટર થયો, એડમિટન્સ મેટ્રિક્સ અને વોલ્ટેજ વેક્ટર. So for this relation we can write in the simpler form, that J1 J2 J3 J4. Then the admittance matrix is written in terms of their location, that is Y11 Y12 Y13 Y14 and so on, and voltage vector. Comparing the above equations, એટલે equation A અને આગળનું equation, this last equation written in brown color, if we compare, so this is Y11 location, this location is Y12, this is Y13 and Y14. Similarly, this one is Y21, this is Y22, Y23 and Y24. Now compare કે જે સર્કલ માં છે એ સ્મોલ વેલ્યુ માં લખેલા છે, સ્મોલ Y12 લખેલા છે, અને સર્કલ ની બહાર છે that is the capital value, capital Y12. So capital Y12 indicates the location and small y12 indicates its value. Okay, so let's write the same thing, that y11 is y10 plus y12 plus y13. Y20 is summation of y20, y12, y23, y24 and so on. Whereas y12 is equal to y21, which is negative of y12. Y23 is equal to 32, negative of Y23. And there will be Y31 also. So Y13 is equal to Y31 is negative of minus Y13. Now, if you look closely, this one, then what is Y11? Y11 is, let me show you in the form of network. Okay, here there is connection, here there is connection, and there is a connection between ground and bus number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So bus number 1 is connected with 3 other buses. Which are the 3 other buses? First is ground node, another is bus number 2 and bus number 3. So Y11 is the summation of all the admittances connected with bus number 1. Y11 શું થશે કે bus number 1 સાથે જેટલા admittance connected છે એ બધાનો સરવાળો થશે. તો જુઓ, બસ નંબર 1 સાથે કેટલા admittance connected છે? 3. Y10, Y12 and Y13. So if you add all these 3, you will get Y11. Similarly, if we get Y22, તો Y22 નો connection આ રીતના છે. So this is 0 node. So this is Y20, Y23 and Y24. So Y22 શું થશે? What is Y22? It is the summation of all the admittances connected at bus number 2. So bus number 2 પર કેટલા admittance connected છે? જુઓ, total 4. Y20, Y12, Y23 and Y24. 2, 4. So if you add all these 4, you will get Y22. In a similar way, Y33 is the summation of all the admittances connected at bus number 3, and Y44 is the summation of all the admittances connected at bus number 4. Okay, so we stop here. In the next lecture we will discuss further, but meanwhile you can do this task. આ જે slide છે, slide number 22, it is given also in book Nagraj Kothari. તો તમે આ expand કરી અને you try to convert this set of equation into matrix form. Okay, so in the tomorrow's lecture we will discuss further Y bus. Okay, so again I am telling you